Hello, everybody. My name is Candace Voss. Thank you for tuning in. This is A Minute in the Matrix. I am recording a video today off the cuff about being present and multitasking because recently in my life I've been noticing I haven't been able to commit to the multitasking, and it's really been causing some brain fog. And I've noticed my short-term memory is not nearly what I think it should be. I also want to bring up a few points of wisdom I've learned through my journey with psychedelics. I've learned a lot of things that I think really bring presence and peacefulness into mindfulness and how that unfolds in my life, my everyday life, actually. I think a lot of us fall into the trap of being forced into multitasking, and I think the society celebrates multitasking, but I'm here to offer some ways that you can get beyond the multitasking, that you can still accomplish your goals, and some different techniques that might help you focus on the present. So we'll accomplish that today. So the famous philosopher Lao Tzu said, if you're depressed, you're living in the past. If you're anxious, you're living in the future. And if you are at peace, you are living in the present. So let's think about that for a minute. I've personally struggled with depression, and it was years ago in my teens, then again in my 20s, and the most difficult time in my life, most challenging, was postpartum. So I have 3 little kids, and when you are in a depressed state of mind, because that's actually what it is, it's your mind frame, it's your mind state, it's really difficult to actually see that you are depressed. And first of all, you can't recognize it because you're so deep down in the well. That's how I felt anyway. I don't know if anyone out there can relate, but it really did feel like swimming, like treading water. But I was always there for my kids, and that was my number one priority. So I was taking care of everybody else's needs, but I wasn't taking care of my own, and that wasn't healthy. And I recognize that now, and through my journey with psychedelics, that's what got me to this mental health phase of my life that I'm really harnessing and just embracing right now, because without the use of psychedelics in my life, I wouldn't have been able to, I don't think, on my own, nor pharmaceutical medication really cured that depression. The psychedelics really gave me a deeper, like a different lens to look at what was causing it for me. And so I am so grateful for the experiences that I've had and what that's shown me. But depressed living, you're living in the past. You're not depressed about the present. You're depressed about things that have happened in your past leading up to what is unfolding out in your external reality. That's a past way of living. That's not being conscious of present. And so if you can move beyond past thinking and focus on what is in the here and now, you are able to see beyond those past experiences and realize that you're more than those past experiences and more than what happened to you. And it's a choice to be a victim or not, and take what happened to you as something that happened in the past, and it definitely impacted who you are today because of the emotions surrounding what had happened, or the instance in your life, or circumstances at one point in your life, or even currently how you feel about your circumstances now. If you can be present and recognize that those past experiences and maybe the current situation doesn't need to define you, you can shift your way of thinking. And I know that's really hard to just ask someone to do, but psychedelics definitely helped me with that. But you can do that through meditation and other means of just gratitude practices and love and acceptance of yourself, forgiveness practices to move beyond the past. Future thinking, maybe some of you are experiencing anxiety, or there's just anxiousness in your energy field right now, and that's living in the future. And that leads me to think about worry, and how worry is quite a useless emotion. Worry is putting energy and feelings into something that hasn't even happened yet, that likely will not. And why worry about something if you don't have control over it? And trying to control something that you don't have control over, but you, because of your personality, your shadow, your ego, you need to feel in control of that, that leads to anxiety. So that's just a reframe on what I think anxiety is. That's what it is for me. And I fall into the trap of, well, what if this, especially with like having kids and being the person who's in charge of all the scheduling and trying to plan my life and compartmentalize everything and multitasking. This is the topic of today's video. So single tasking is a phrase, as you can imagine. It means focusing on one single task. And that's a big ask, because if you do have children, or if you do like work from home, there's a lot of disruptions that happen for you throughout the day. Like you decide, well, I could put the dishes away right now. I could do the laundry right now. I could go take out all my winter clothes and put them in the closet right now. I could, like the thoughts come in, or maybe in your work environment, it's like you just got up to get a cup of coffee, but now you want to go back and take a break, or you want to check your social media on the phone, and okay, but then you're going to pay that bill because you have like a few minutes before your next meeting, and the wheels just turn. And we're so bad at single tasking, but that's not our fault. That's parameters society's like boxed us into. We can't just like knock down those walls, because there are like rules that exist, and we are living within them because that's what other people expect from us, especially in the workplace. You don't really have control over what you can do and not do. There's certain like acceptance and etiquette that you need to follow. Well, that doesn't mean that you're not in charge of your thoughts and your brain and your emotions. So you really can start shifting perception of things. And that's doing things like resisting the urge to check the social media, resisting the urge to go back to the emails that you just checked 5 minutes ago. You don't need to respond immediately to everything. Maybe start by scheduling a time in the day that this is when I respond to emails, or this 30-minute window is when I put away the laundry and the dishes in my house if you work from home, or this 20-minute window is when I take a brisk walk outside, or I do a quick 20-minute home workout to recenter myself and get the blood flowing again and give myself another like energy boost, serotonin boost, which anybody can incorporate that, no matter if you're in the work environment, if there's a break room. There's so many things you could do. Take a walk around your building, and just incorporating these small things might help you to get that focus that you need and not feel like you're not going to accomplish tasks. I don't mean make a to-do list. Oftentimes, if you don't get to all of the things on your to-do list, there's a feeling of defeat, and that's not what we're looking for. We just want wins and wins. And to do that, you could just have moments where you schedule things to do, and if it doesn't get done, you did what you could within that time window. I spent 10 years working as a behavioral health nurse on an inpatient unit, and the amount of multitasking you have to do when working with patients is, it's no wonder nurses retire early, but you just have so much that you're responsible for and so many things to keep track of, and your like lives are at stake. And because these patients were mentally ill, but they also had other comorbidities that needed to be frequently monitored. People who take care of young children at home, if you have any experience with that, then you know what I'm talking about. As soon as you sit down to your desk, or as soon as you go to like pay a bill or start cooking dinner, there's usually a break in that where a child needs help with something and you have to stop what you're doing, and the brain has to change its focus, which you don't experience this. You're not aware of it in your conscious mind, but the brain does this behind the scenes. It switches focus and it needs to go on to that next task. And that's a switching cost. It's an actual term, and a switching cost, it's a cognitive decline. Like, you lose brain power when you have to keep switching back and forth from task to task. So single task focused and oriented is a lot more efficient, even though we have been told, well, if you multitask, you can get so many more things. You can kill two birds with one stone. I disagree. The single task focus, there's no switching cost involved. That's a more efficient way to be productive throughout your day. So one of the ways that multitasking decreases cognitive function is with short-term, like, memory retention. I have firsthand experience with this. I don't know if anyone else can relate out there, but you lose short-term memory retention because of all the switching costs involved. With the multitasking, it's a constant switching from this to that to this to that, and it disrupts the brain's process for storing these memories. So that also affects long-term memory retention as well. So you really need to be cognizant of when you are being called in another direction. If you choose to listen to that impulse, that impulsivity, that feeling or that drive that you have to check the social media, you have to check the email, you have to go do something else, be really conscious of that and try to stay present in the moment and refocus in some of those earlier activities that I recommended. So for those who may be experiencing burnout, chronic stress, anxiety, if you have a job or your lifestyle requires a lot of multitasking, this could be a side effect of that. It's constant, it's just brain fatigue. You may get tired faster or wonder why you're having this like dip in the afternoon. And that's not necessarily like lack of caffeine or it's like wearing off, but you're feeling like burned out. Think about if you're a multitasker. And I think most of us are. That's just what is expected of us. You know, we're like, how can we possibly function if I'm not multitasking? And I think about that all the time. That is my life. That is my day. But I also know the importance of recentering, because if I want to be the best version of me and I want to be there for my kids, like my family, my extended family, my friends, I know that I need these resets. Also device reset moments where you put down the phone, you put away the laptop, and you take the walk, you go stand outside and you just observe nature, find a park bench. If you are fortunate enough to live near some beautiful trails, go for a walk in the woods. And there's no bad weather. You could just dress appropriately. Well, there is bad weather, but you be the judge. But these resets can bring the brain back into balance. And it's so hungry for that in this world that just doesn't allow us time to stop and think. And I kind of feel like it's constructed that way. Like, we want to buy more things. We think more things are wrong with us. And there's nothing wrong with you at all. There's nothing wrong. Like, you're on your own path, your own divine timing of everything. And you are constantly expanding and you are flowing, though there are moments in time that feel still and stagnant. Everything around you that feels it's pushing you, that you're not doing well enough. It's just how society's constructed this world to make us feel about ourselves. So push back against that and treat yourself with kindness and grace and start a gratitude practice. So when you are taking this moment to observe nature, you are going for a walk, use it as a time to remind yourself to stay centered, to be at peace with how things are. Recognize the things that you can control and that are out of your control. Let go of worry, let go of frustrations, and trust in the divine. And it's hard sometimes, but if you feel things are going off and out of your control, gratitude. Just breathe in gratitude and exhale worry and frustration. So as you are doing these gratitude practices and practicing being more kind to yourself, I want you to understand too that emotional control can be impaired by being forced to multitask all the time. So if you're out of control and you lose patience really quickly and you overreact to things and you feel like guilty for the way that you reacted to things, this could be because you're multitasking and your brain is just fatigued and you can't keep up with the demand. So that's even more of a reason to go forward and practice gratitude and kindness to yourself. And if you are in a space that requires creativity, or you just like being creative and expressing yourself. And one of the reasons I'm making these videos is because I want to work on self-expression. And creativity can be stifled if you are not practicing single task focusing. That can hinder your ability to be creative and to let those creative feelings flow, to let that energy exude from you, because you're stuck. You're actually like stuck in this habitual way of thinking, and these neural networks are stuck. And that's another thing psychedelics has helped me with, is to really shake things up and to create new neural networks. And that just, those sparks just start like exploding in the brain. And that's really what's gotten me to where I am today. And it's been such a journey. And I'm noticing a lot of changes with gratitude practices, really taking time to do single focus work. And when I am distracted, recognize, okay, I'm moving on from this task, and know that there's behind the scenes work happening. And I just have to be more patient and kind with myself. As you move forward in your day, take a moment to recognize the areas in your life that could perhaps be more focused and you could be more present, because those are the areas where you will find peace. That is the space that is present. That's where you want to be existing and living life from, not worried about the future or depressed about the past. Stay present. So I hope you found some value in this video, and I'd like to start a tribe and get some interaction going with you. So if you have a comment that you'd like to make on this video, or a personal like example that you could give, I'd love to respond to that. So thank you for listening to Minute in the Matrix. Have a stellar day.